My guest, this is a genius, and there's a reason why I say he's a genius. Some of the things that he's achieved in his career is second to none. And I would like to take this opportunity to say welcome to Straight Talk, the one and only Michael. He is a panness not as we know it. He's a panness extraordinaire. Michael, welcome to Straight Talk. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Ken. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having you. Michael, let's start, and I will ask a simple question here to you. Who is Michael? Who is really Michael?
Oh dear. That's an easy question. It's very hard to answer. Michael is Michael Tuse, a.k.a. Chatu. The first blind tenor pannist in the world. This is Michael, very down to earth and very easy to, to be with people in any company. This is just me.
This is just you. Is not that simple because you have so much achievements. But I first want to look at your childhood. What your childhood was like, back in the days. Because you're originally from Trinidad, from Point Fontaine to be exact. So you would have left your mark in Point Fontaine in one way or the other. In the sense of what your schooling was like. Did you do secondary school? How did it all go for you as a young lad growing up in
Yeah, well, as a young lad, I was born in Tisha Village, Point Fontaine. Tisha is basically on the southwestern peninsula of Point Fontaine. Point Fontaine is the area which we call the gem of the Caribbean, the energy of the Southland, because of, in those days, was oil rich, from UBOT into Shell into Trinidad, Petrotrin, to name a few. I attended the Point Fontaine Intermediate RC School, and that school was based in Mahaika, just about 10 minutes walk from Tisha Village through a narrow track. That school actually, you start there, which we'll call like kindergarten stage, and you can go all the way to Form 5 and do your O-levels.
Okay.
So in those days, where you had common entrance, whether you can pass common entrance and stay right there, you can fail and stay right there. And I'm not ashamed to say I sat common entrance twice and failed. And I remained right there. And I never really did reach the O-levels because I ended up leaving school at least 2 years before. It was all due to, I was not very healthy. I always suffer with bronchitis, stroke, asthma, and it always happened coming around summertime, I don't know why. And, it was difficult for my parents, and, well, I lived the test of time, to put it in a nutshell.
So it was a challenging
period
of your life,
very challenging
as a youngster, because most youngsters growing up in the Caribbean would be very much active. We're growing up in a place where there's almost sunshine and hot weather 365 days. But because of your medical conditions, in the sense of, as you said, the bronchitis, that kind of asthma area, it would have been difficult for you. So you didn't necessarily have a normal childhood life based on your challenges in the sense of the medical aspect of it, because you had to be dealing with that.
Exactly.
So you went through those period, and I would assume that is like behind you now, in the sense of the challenges as far as the hot weather is concerned.
Definitely so.
It is not as
Definitely so.
And so at what stage did you decide, well, look at, all right, I've gone into school, I've done as much as I can do, I didn't come out with the necessary passes or whatever the case is, but I had to do something with myself, and that's something for people who know you or people who doesn't know you around the world would have been you got into entertainment.
Well, if I could step back a bit,
Yeah.
after having spoken about common entrance, then once you fail common entrance, there was another examination called school leaving examination.
Right.
And that will begin from
Sixth form?
post-primary,
Yeah, yeah.
which that would have been standard 6,
Yeah, yeah.
then into Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, so you had 4 chances.
Okay.
And to be honest, I really did excel.
Okay, okay.
I did
okay.
excel in school even, because I remember if it was 1969 or 70, I made the second highest points in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
The second highest point. One girl, I think she was in Tobago, from a Tobago school, that beat me because at the end of my composition, I did not put a full stop.
Okay.
And she beat me by a half a point.
She beat you by a full stop.
And yeah, my life started to take off from there. But I was always interested in music, especially steel pan.
And why was that?
Because again, the community where I came from, St. Tisha village in Point Fonte, my father used to work with the oil company, Shell at the time, and there was steel band. Every community in Point Fonte had a steel band around that time. And the steel band in Tisha was Talan. And my dad used to supply them with drums, tallow grease, wheels, pipe, to make pan stand, whatever. And the guys who used to trim me as a little boy, they had a old tenor pan in the yard, and once I go there, and I'll just take up stick and start banging, and everybody said,
Banging.
this guy looked like he had potential. And when this band is going to Carnival in Point Fonte, it's the whole village that goes with the band.
Okay, and that would have been your village,
Yes,
village.
Tisha village.
Tisha village, yeah.
Starland going down that Tisha stretch, passing in front Bel Drive-In. This is everybody going. And those days, little children, when you hold on to a pan stand,
You're not letting go.
you're not letting go. And I was next to this guy playing his tenor pan, and I just watching him every note he playing. I'm there. When we reached Frisco Junction, which is like entering the heart of Point Fonte now,
Yeah.
by that roundabout, the famous rum shop there was Mackie John Rum Shop. And the mistake this guy made was to leave his sticks in the pan and go to the rum shop. I know it's to relieve himself or to get a beer or something.
Or whatever, yeah.
And I took up the sticks and started playing the song. And they went, look, the little guy, he's playing the song. And when the guy came back, they said, just leave him alone. He said, you push the stand instead.
So, and so with that, you now become, you're the man now. You're the man in the band.
Man.
You're getting a ride around, people pushing you.
Yeah. Kitchener song, ting tang, darling, the queen and the juke come in. You know what I mean?
Okay. So what year that was?
Oh my God, that's somewhere in the 60s.
In the 60s?
In the 60s, somewhere in the 60s.
That's after independence, though?
Yeah.
Right.
Could have been 63, 64, somewhere around there. And I played pan all day. I remember my dad, you want something to eat? No. You want something to drink? No.
Because you seize your opportunity. This is where you get the opportunity.
Exactly.
Based on seeing what's going on and knowing that you had a passion to do what that gentleman was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, do you remember the gentleman's name? You remember?
No. Never knew his name.
Never knew his name.
Never knew his name. And
so that would have been your introduction.
Yes, that would have been my introduction to the steel pan.
So what would have happened after that? So you'd have done this pan, you'd have played this pan and show for that for the festival. You would have walked away from the festival at that point in time.
Yeah, that was Carnival Monday.
Carnival Monday.
That year, and there was no pan for me again after that because, as I say, I was not a member of the steel band, bona fide member or anything.
Okay.
So what I did, I got some empty grapefruit juice tin and tuned them to my own specifications. So I had my own little pan at home.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
16 little tins. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but
16 tins.
yeah. Every pan is a note.
Yeah.
You know, and arrange it in a certain way. Only I could understand what I was doing. And, you know, I think everything started to happen from there. Everything started to click.
Okay.
Then, being, you know, having this musical prowess about me, I joined the St. Anthony's Roman Catholic Brigade. Because I
Okay.
love drumming and bugle playing and stuff like that. And again, it was another dimension of me musically.
Okay.
So I started with the brigade playing the kettle drum, and I was very inspired by our commanding officer at the time, the late Mr. Jerome Joseph, and also Mr. Taylor. And watching these guys playing, you know, a bugle, a trumpet, I was inquisitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started blowing the bugle, then the trumpet bugle. I think I was very good at it. Then I went on to trumpet. And we will move on now to 11, 12, 13 years old. So I end up joining Seaburg Steel Orchestra because I still love my pan.
You still love the
Yeah.
pan. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so before I digress and have people confused, my dad, we bought property outside of Tisha Village, so we moved house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Tisha, we was living in the company house. It was Shell Oil Company houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So dad bought his own property in Fanny Village, and we moved down there. So from there to Tisha was a long street to walk in those days. So I decided to play with Seaburg Steel Orchestra,
Which
is
was
now
more convenient. More
which is more
convenient.
convenient.
Convenient for you.
Right.
Yeah.
This Seaburg is now known as Tornadoes.
Okay. Okay.
So I end up in Seaburgs, and one of our arrangers was one of the guys who used to arrange for Starland, the late Steve Brooms.
Okay.
And, you know, he said, oh, I remember this guy, you know. He said, you get big now. And again, you know, tenor pan was always my love.
Yeah.
And these guys really inspire me, you know. They were around me, they assist me, you know. Correct way to hold the stick, correct posture to stand up behind your pan.
Yeah,
Those days you have to learn to wrap your own sticks with rubber, you know, and all these things. It was discipline. It was the whole discipline aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so I was like torn between two lovers, the steel band and the brigade.
And the brigade, you now had to make
Had
a
to share
decision, I
myself.
suppose, because it's challenging in the sense
Yeah.
of commitment, time commitment.
And at the
Yeah.
time, I was also a pretty decent footballer. I used to play for Wolves United football team back in Point Fonte. You know, pretty decent striker. Full of speed, kick with both feet. Didn't like butting the ball, but when it come to, I had to. So that is where, you know, I was torn between three lovers now. And I remember the family doctor, so Dr. Saini, deceased now, of course,
Yeah.
he told my mom, because, you know, I'm so active,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is a lot of helping me, you know, breathing and my movement of my lungs and stuff like
we're
that.
coming back to
So the
whole,
bronchitis and things
Yeah.
started to subside, you know.
Okay.
And yeah, never
So you're saying being physically
active, yes.
helps,
Help a
somewhat
lot.
help you.
It did
And we're
help
not saying
me.
that this is the medicine for everybody
Oh,
else.
no,
But we're
no.
saying for you in particular, that gave you an ease as far as your bronchitis condition is
It helped me
concerned.
a lot. It helped me a lot.
I mean, some people can probably try it and see whether it works for them, but you know it definitely did work for you.
Yeah, well, to God be the glory.
To God be the
glory. Yeah.
And so once you had the football in place, you had the brigade in place, and you had the pan in place,
Pan in place.
were you ever put into a position where you now had to make that choice?
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember in 1977, I was playing with a brass band in Point called Ivory and Brass. And it's the first time the brass band was looking to come on the road for Carnival. In those days, there were no sound system on the roads. It was just brass band and steel bands.
Yeah.
Mind you, Point Fonte had about 10 to 12 big steel bands. We're not talking about 40 and 50, we're talking 100 plus.
100.
A
Okay.
small community like Point Fontaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the manager of the brass band said, well, you'll have to make a choice, you know. It's either brass or pan. And I said, well, I'll have to think about it. He said, no, you need to think about it right now.
Right now, you're the game answer right now.
I say, I can't. I say, I really can't. Why you can't? I say, well, I need to speak with my parents. I mean, I was an adult at the time now, 18 plus.
Yeah.
I say, I still need to speak with my parents because those days parental discipline was the key of family life.
Yeah.
And I spoke with my mom and dad, and my dad said, well, the choice is yours.
Yeah, what you want to do.
And then I went to the manager of the brass band and I say, Pan. He said, you really turning your back on us? I said, just for Carnival.
Yeah.
Pan. No, I will tell you why I say Pan. The first year I played Panorama with Seabugs in Port of Spain was 1970. And on the way back home, the old minibus we had, it broke down. Okay. And I was very scared, you know, of jumping on truck and all these things. So I remained on the broke down minibus until the wrecker came.
The recovery come.
Right.
Yeah.
Now this bus broke down alongside the Godino River coming down Mosquito Creek in San Fernando. And my asthma stroke bronchitis started to play up.
Yeah.
So by the time the recovery vehicle came and towed that bus back to when my dad was pacing up and down in front of the market by the taxi stand looking for his son.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found. Everyone here just say, well, we think he come home already. No, he is not home. So anyhow, that wrecker towed the bus down and my dad saw me. I could have hardly breathe. I was like wheezing short breath. And he ran me straight to the area hospital. I remember getting an injection, whatever, and they sent me home. And the sad thing about it is, the band members knew what had happened to me, and they never came and looked for me.
Okay.
And Dad was upset.
Okay.
He was very, very much upset. And he said, that's it. No pan for you again. That's it.
Whoa.
And I was already looking forward to 1971 Carnival.
Yeah.
So, when I go to school, lunchtime, I find myself down in the pan yard. And I learn the tune.
So you're saying, so although your parents is sort of setting your path for you, you were still adamant that the path that you choose is the path that is what you're going to pursue, which is
exactly.
And hence the reason you're saying now you're in school, you're always saying you skip out.
Yeah.
Skip out unknowing to your parents. So you're trying to get yourself up to scratch with the tune for Carnival because you still have that intention.
Well, for Panorama.
Yeah, for Panorama, yeah.
And I knew I was that good. I knew I was that good. Because something, you know, I'll digress a little bit. Something I always say, pan players, if you're young, you're going to school, that muscle memory, you retain a lot.
Okay.
And you do well in exams. You do well. I prove it up to today. So I say, if I learn this song and somehow I try to get my dad to say, well, yes.
Convince him, yeah.
But I cannot approach him. So my strategy was, Dad, can I go Panorama with the band? Say, yes, you could go. You could go.
Come on, Mike.
You ain't playing no pan.
Come on, Mike.
You could go. Say, right. Say, over one
foot in.
Yeah,
one foot in.
So I told the tenor section leader at the time, there's a guy, we call him Papi, Winston Frederick. I say, Papi, look so and so is the case. I don't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
He said, huh? I say, yeah. I say, I'll be coming. I say, okay, so the morning of Panorama, my dad gave me $5, which was a lot of money at the time, to go and enjoy myself. So I went Panorama. I performed to the best of my ability. The band performed.
Yeah.
Came back home, and everything was fine. Everything was hunky-dory.
Yeah.
Monday morning, went to school. Some of my school friends, they didn't know I play in Panorama because that would have been the talk.
Yeah. So you kind of keep it hush
Yeah,
hush.
keep it hush-hush. Monday evening after school, came home, do the routine, you know, I got to feed the fowls, do this, do that, the other, go out in the road, play football with the guys, come home, bathe, change your clothes, do your homework, whatever, and daddy came from work. He used to call my mom June. He said, June, where is Mr. Michael? Once you hear Mr., you know something wrong.
Something is serious. This is important now.
Something. She said, yes, yeah. Mr. Michael, yes, daddy, come here. Say, yes, daddy. Sit down. Say, yes, daddy. He said, boy, I thought I tell you don't play pan. I said, I didn't. And that ever way you lean his head like this and smile. We used to call it the angry smile.
Yeah.
You know when he do that, you're in trouble. But I know he has no hold on me because no one told him anything. He said, so you don't obey instructions? I said, yes, I do. He said, why you play pan? I said, daddy, I didn't play no pan. So my mom said, well, Toos, why you being so aggressive? He didn't play. You tell him he could go to Panorama. I said, yes. I told him to go to Panorama, not to play. So you disobey me? I say, no, daddy. I swear. That is the wrong word I use.
Oh, Jesus. No.
He opened the work bag. And he took out the evening news. And he said, June, who is that?
Oh, no. Why?
A picture of tornadoes on the evening news with my face most predominant. I got a proper cocktail.
Oh, God.
And then my brother jumped in. He said, no, daddy. He said, I'm going to kill my brother. And mom said, listen, okay. He disobey you, he pay the penalty.
Yeah.
But this guy is talented, leave him.
Leave him, yeah. So your mom was rooting for you?
Yeah, my mom root for me. But I get a good cocktail. Yeah. So that is why I put pan in front all other musical instruments.
Yeah, because of the struggles to get the opportunity to do what to do. I mean, in regards to the pan, how far has it taken you in the sense of playing? Where did you tour? What were some of the places that you managed to tour in regards?
Woo! Well, I hope we got time.
Yeah, well, I think we got time.
I hope we got time. My pan career, well, I must say, you know, before I answer that question, let me go back to, you know, well, I'm visually impaired and I lost my sight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like a learning process all over again. Because after much trial and tribulations, I lost my sight through a medical error.
Okay.
And it's a story I tell over and over and over again, but I don't mind telling it one more time, you know, and it was a struggle, you know.
Okay.
This transformation from one life to the next, because I can tell anyone, being sighted and then to lose your sight is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
You contemplate things like suicide and all kind of madness, you know.
Also, there's a mental, mental aspect of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, the process that you have to deal with.
Being my mom, deceased, gone, may her soul rest in peace, was very religious. She brought us up under every religious Catholic structure.
Yeah.
So I think that was my saving grace, you know. Not to contemplate anything negative, but just think positive all the time. And well, I came to England to seek advanced medical attention. It was a bit too late, and you know, the damage was irreparable, and
so you had to now live with the condition.
And I had to live with the condition
of
being visually impaired.
Yeah.
And I went back to Trinidad, because the ophthalmologist on Harley Street told me, just go back and do what you can do best. Yeah. And do not waste your long life, because I lost my sight at age 28.
Okay, age 28.
This year I'll make it like 41 years.
Okay.
And I went back home and I say, well, the only thing I could do is play pan, but you know, how would I do that? I can't say I don't know of any visually impaired person playing pan.
Yeah.
What about the octave notes, these high notes? You're going to hit them, you're going to miss them, people going to laugh at you, you're going to struggle. And I contemplated, and a good friend of mine, he deceased as well. God, talking about some of deceased people.
It tells you how old you are,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
68 going 69.
Yeah.
And he said, Mike, I still feel you could play. He said, you know, there were times I will see you practicing and your eye closed, and I wasn't aware of that.
You wasn't, okay.
I wasn't
Okay.
aware of that. He said, I think you could play. He said, get up and practice. All you need to do is practice. You understand? You better try and fail than fail to try.
Yeah.
So I went to my beloved Tornadoes and asked kindly for a tenor pan. And the negativity was there, you know.
Oh my gosh. So that was part of your challenges. That was some of the challenges.
That were the challenge.
Which we was going to digress to that soon.
That were the challenge. No.
But how that leave you feeling? Because I mean, if it's a band that you would have committed
Exactly.
some of your life to, and I say pan, because pan men commit their life to pan.
We
It's
do.
a very
We
committed,
do.
They're very committed set of people.
Of course we do.
How you felt? I mean,
I feel really sad. I feel really sad. I wanted to be angry, but I was more disappointed.
okay.
Because, well, give me that fighting chance.
Yeah.
And it was like, send the fool further. Well, we'll talk to this one and he'll bring a pan for you. We'll talk to that one, and then this one have the keys, and this one borrow the keys, and it was just, a run
it was an
around.
excuse.
Yeah,
Always
run
an
around.
excuse. Yeah.
And one guy said, Mike, they said blind people can't play pan. So you had your day, just forget it and live your life in the past. That strengthened me.
So they're now putting you on the side.
Yeah.
Or you say, put you out on the pavement. You're no longer any use to us.
No use.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I'm sorry for who listening to this program in the steel band fraternity.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I always say that the most ungrateful organization in the world is a steel band. And I maintain that. Who want to, lash me for it? My chest is broad, my back is strong. I'll take it. But this is my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a good friend of the family said, I will get a tenor pan for you. And he stole a tenor pan from the band
Oh my gosh.
and brought it home. They never missed the pan.
Yeah.
And when he brought it, I had a whole pan stand there, and I hook it up, take a pair of sticks, and it was more problem again because where I know the notes to be, they weren't there anymore.
Oh, so they rearranged the notes.
I said, what's going on here? I couldn't work it out because that pan was the Invader styling high tenor.
Okay.
So I called a friend of mine in Tobago. Again, sorry, deceased. He said, Mike, the pans is a new style we have called the fourths and fifths. I said, really? Explain that to me. He said, could you still tell the time? I said, yeah. He said, okay. He said, clockwise is fourth, anti-clockwise is fifth.
Okay.
So he said, let's look at the face of the clock. 12 o'clock is F sharp, 1 o'clock is B, 2 o'clock is E.
And you're doing all of this from visual memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you remember
No, I
how
never
a clock
saw that
look,
pan, eh?
You never physically see the pan.
No.
But you could, obviously you know a clock
The
because
clock,
as you
that's
say,
right, yeah.
you lost your sight at age 28. So you're familiar with a clock.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I say, okay. He said, well, work your chromatic scale from low D, which I understand what is a chromatic scale, ascending or descending.
Yeah.
And I work out the chromatic scale. It took me about 15, 20 minutes because this style is sort of crisscross styling.
Yeah.
And then I say,
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
I say, interesting.
So it's another challenge for you now, eh?
Yeah. Then on the radio, we had this Stag commercial. Every 10 minutes, we had this Stag commercial. And it sounded nice, so I started working out the Stag commercial. And then, to me, like I heard someone sniffling behind me.
Yeah.
So I turned around, and Mom said, well done, son. I say, my mom say, well done, son. I say, Mike, you ready?
You're ready? Yeah.
I say, you're ready. This was 1988. Well, the back end of 19 87, Christmas time, just between Christmas and New Year. The band already started practicing. We were playing Panama by David Rudder, arranged by Dr. Jit Samaru.
Yeah.
Deceased again.
Deceased again, Jit
Right.
Samaru, yeah.
So, a friend came and meet me, turn a pan, shine it up clean and nice, walk in the pan yard, and it's like, where he going? You know, he just come to fool himself. So
Because they're still on the premise that a blind man cannot play the pan.
Yep. So I set up the tenor pan. No one come in and show me anything, but I have a very good ear. And I listening, and I finding the notes, and I playing.
But stick up in there a second. Isn't that a general thing where pan men is concerned?
Yeah.
Because it is almost a gift when we look at it as a gift. Because normally when you look at music, especially for orchestras and things, there's a lot of reading of music. But pan men always seem to be just, you're very rare you see pan men using score sheets. I mean, they might prepare a piece from a score sheet, but when it comes to executing, you don't normally see that. It's not something you see.
Well, it's sort of going that way now, into the 21st century. So, but playing by rote is still, is still the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we go back to where you was.
Yeah, so, and I started listening and picking up the notes, phrasing, and Jit Samaru put a nice, kind of complicated run for the tenors, and I working it out, and Jit Samaru came to me, he said, blind boy, what is your name? I say, Michael. He said, you're very good, you know. He said, play that part, let me hear. I played it. He said, play it again. I played it. He said, okay, guys, I'm going to Paddy's Roti Shop to have a roti and a soda. Tenor section, go by the blind man and learn that partner. I say, yes, Father.
Yes, you get them.
I say, amen, Jesus. I say, thank you. My prayers have been answered. The next day, radio station, television, newspapers flooded Tornado's pan yard. Everybody looking for the Stevie Wonder of pan. And I say, no, don't put that label on me at all. I am just Michael.
Yeah.
And my journey began from there. You know, I give all praise and thanks to Almighty God for that gift he gave me, because it is a gift.
So wait, let me ask this question, and I had to ask this question. Don't laugh at me. The guy who stole the pan, is he alive still?
He's still alive. He's still alive.
What's his name? What's his name? What's his name?
His name is Trevor Edwards, better known as Tano.
Tano.
Yeah.
Tano, we're looking for you. We're looking for you with handcuffs too. We want to say big up to Tano. So Tano would have been instrumental, very much instrumental.
Very much in my journey now.
In your journey as a visually impaired person.
Exactly.
Playing the pan. Because society as it had it at that point in time was very much, let me say, ignorant, for want of a better word.
Oh, yes.
Because
Very
there were
much.
blind people playing all sorts of instruments and doing all sorts. But I think, and when I use the word ignorant, I use it kind of loosely.
Sparingly, yeah.
Yeah, but please forgive me. I don't. It's not my intention to offend anybody. But Tano, who had confidence in you, a lot of confidence in you, put himself out to give you the opportunity. And I know you'll be forever grateful to Tano. And also your mom, who gave you the seal of
inspiration
approval
as well. Yeah,
the inspiration.
Now I know we would have reached there. That's why I wear this T-shirt.
Oh.
Because Tano is a former Point Fonte Civic Center and Trinidad national footballer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you continue to honor Tano and support him.
Yeah.
So you continue playing the pan in Trinidad, and at some point it would have get to the point where you thought, well, you need to go up to another level, and you had to leave Trinidad.
Well, not necessarily, because what happened is when I came to England for medical attention after the horrible news that, you know,
there's no chance of restoring
sight.
Yeah.
You know, the ophthalmologist said, well, you on a holiday, enjoy your holiday,
Yeah.
And then you go back home, do the best you can with whatever you're very good at.
Yeah.
Well, during that holiday, I met a lovely girl.
Yeah.
And we became friendly, we got engaged, and she brought me back to England, and we were together for some years.
Yeah.
We got married, well, now sadly separated after,
Yeah. Yeah.
many different things.
Many different things. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was Brent Carnival in 1987.
Okay.
And
okay.
I heard some steel bands, and I was fascinated because, don't get me wrong,
Yeah, because
we always think Trinidad have the best.
yeah.
We are the best where pan is concerned. I mean, we are second to none. But then I'm not putting down steel bands outside of
Outside
Trinidad.
of Trinidad. Yeah, certainly.
So I heard this steel band called Ebony. And I said, they sound like a Trinidad steel band. And I asked, who were the arranger? And I said, Anis Hadid. I never heard of him before. And I said, well, I would like to play with this steel band when next I come to England. So, push forward. After my holidays, I went home to Trinidad, came back in '89 to join Ebony. That was another story by itself again.
Ebony is alive, don't worry. Ebony is alive. They're alive and well and doing extremely well.
But the guy who took me there, again, he's deceased now.
Oh, Jesus.
So we went to Ebony and he went to the manager. He said, well, look, my friend here would like to play with the band. He is blind. And the manager said, well, you what? He's blind. I said, what band he does play? I said, tenor. I said, okay, well, he have his own band. He said, yeah. He said, I'll tell him come tomorrow and see what he could do. And I find that was, wasn't too nice of him at all. So then, whilst we walking away, my friend overheard the manager telling the next guy. Yeah. He said, look, he bring a Grenadian here to play pan, he blind. Grenadian can't play pan and blind people can't play pan.
But what is this?
I heard that. I said, okay. I said, you have something coming, boy.
Yeah.
So the next day, came down with my pan, and the manager brought a little guy, not putting him down, about 8, 9 years old. He said, this guy will teach you the song. So I said, what song you guys playing? He said, Free Up by Tambo. I said, okay, what key? He said, I don't know. I said, what note it begin on? He said, this one. I said, what note that? He said, I don't know. I said, that's B flat. Yeah. I'm okay. So he started teaching. I said, go on. He played the verse, play it again. I listen, I follow him. Play the chorus, follow him. I said, how far the tune reach? He said, I don't know. I said, okay. Then a white guy came. He said, excuse me, what's your name? I said, Michael. He said, you look like a good player. He said, I will teach you, because this guy is too slow. So he asked the little guy to go inside.
Yeah.
And this white guy name was Sean.
Yeah.
And Sean started teaching that. In about half an hour, I learned everything where the band reached up to.
Yeah.
And this bass girl named Maria,
she
went in the panyard and she called out the manager named Peppy. She said, the blind man is damn good. He learned the tune already. And there was a guy in the panyard by the name of Jason.
Yeah.
He said, who? A blind fella? She said, I said, The only blind panness I know in the world is my friend from Trinidad, and he is in Trinidad.
Yeah, that time
so
he don't know
who
here.
you're talking about. And Jason walk outside, and he just bawl, oh God, Michael. He said, Pepe, you know have a tenor, man. And that was history again.
Yeah.
That was history again.
And that was the introduction to playing pan in England.
England.
Yeah.
And I stayed with Ebony for about 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
I became tenor section leader, became captain for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I must say, Ebony, after all is said and done, without Ebony, I don't think my pan history would have been as colorful as
it is. Yeah.
With Ebony, I toured the world with Ebony all over. I toured the world with Ebony.
There is no way you didn't go with Ebony. And Ebony is one of these bands that
They are the top band in
nurture,
Europe,
yeah,
without a doubt.
they nurture a lot of young players, or even people who is in don't know anything about pan and would like to get to know. I think they're very much to the forefront of educating people about
Yeah,
pan.
yeah. And Ebony is blessed with having talented players. Very, very blessed with having talented players. And then I know with my input, the input of Jason, guys like Desmond, Darren, we taught a lot of young kids who's
Young
up
players,
to
yeah,
scratch now,
yeah.
really holding their own anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I
Anywhere in
think
the world.
generally the pan in England, the standard has certainly raised quite a
By
lot.
leaps and bounds, yeah,
Yeah,
by leaps
they've
and
come a
bounds.
long way. And be mindful, some of these kids has never been blessed with the opportunity to even go to let me say somewhere like Trinidad or
Exactly,
any one of the Caribbean
exactly.
islands to say play pan,
Exactly.
because now pan in the Caribbean is very much up there throughout the islands. But yet the kids that are coming out who are from not necessarily a Trinidadian persuasion, not even, some of them are Europeans and otherwise and of different persuasion, Africa and all that kind of thing. And they're doing extremely well.
They are indeed. They
So
are indeed.
after leaving Ebony, what would have been your next part?
Well,
Because obviously you say you did 12 years at Ebony.
yeah, yeah. Well, even prior to leaving Ebony,
Yeah.
I started teaching pan in schools. I taught Bushmead Technical Secondary School for, that would be 16 years,
Whoa.
14 years. And I taught Leopold Primary for 17 years. I'm not retired.
Yeah, 'cause Leopold is in the NW10 area, isn't it?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
A London area.
Nice then, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And how do you find that process? Because and again the question comes from the fact that you're partially sighted, so the challenges are so much greater on you, having to deal with these kids and young people now. How did you find that process?
well, you're not partially sighted, it's
Well,
totally
so no, sorry,
blind.
not partially.
Yeah,
I'm beg,
totally. Yeah.
my
Never mind.
apologies for yeah. So
Yeah.
not being sighted as most people. How do you find that process going into school and dealing with kids? Do you find it
Yeah.
challenging?
It was very challenging. But then again, as I said, back home, the parental values back home, discipline, etiquette, I instilled that into school. Because what I realized when I started to teach, and I must say, I must give thanks. Oh my goodness. I'm sounding repetitive now. But thanks to the late Dr. Coleman, who was the headmistress of Bushmead Technical Secondary.
Okay.
I must say thanks to Debbie Brady, thanks to Helen Rosanna, and Liz Lovell. They were there for me head and shoulders.
Okay.
But with my discipline from back home, because I realized when that bell ring and children come into the pan room, they just rush in and take up sticks, and I stop.
Yeah.
What do you say? Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir.
Oh, yeah.
That is important.
Yeah.
I used to let everyone go back outside and come in and say
And
good
re-enter,
morning
yeah.
one by one.
So you started to pass on some of your values. So it
That's
wasn't
right.
only about just teaching pan.
Exactly.
It was about the values of life.
Exactly so.
Respect.
Exactly so.
And how you communicate and address people when you get into a room and these things. So it's not, people don't just walk in and do as they like.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
you don't.
because that is what we were brought up on. We were brought up if you come into a room or an office or whatever it is, and you see someone, you greet them
Exactly.
respectfully. So and how the kids found that? Because obviously that is not necessarily the culture here. Was it difficult to get them to conform to your way?
Yes and no. Because there was so that will try to be rebellious and say, no, I'm not having it. I say, I'm not having it. And I will talk to them in a serious way But then my technique of teaching,
Yeah.
serious but with love. So you must
Okay.
enjoy what you're doing. Someone making a mistake, and I say, hey, don't hide from making a mistake. Make the mistake, let
So
me
we
hear
can
so I can
acknowledge
correct
it.
it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah? And it was a love. These kids, oh, they just love me. They just love me.
And with the kids that gravitated to pan, were they of West Indian background or they was not
Very
of?
few.
Very
Very
few.
few. The
Okay.
majority, very few.
So they were fascinated by the steel
Oh
band, and
yes,
yeah, and
yes,
with
yes,
that they.
yes, 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 they were.
What is it? What's the approach? What's the approach for those of us who is not in that system of teaching music? What is the approach first and foremost to get to teach someone the piano? How do you approach it?
No, I actually wasn't teaching them music, I was tutoring, to
You
play
okay?
the
To
instrument,
play
to
the
learn
instrument.
songs on the instrument. I wasn't teaching like quavers and semi-quavers and
Okay,
whatever.
all right.
No, yeah, so.
But then you have different variation in pans.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you have your tenor pan, you have your double tenor, you have your seconds, you have
Yeah,
your
double
guitar,
guitars, your
your
bass,
bass,
the basics.
and
The
you're
basic.
saying you can play all those instruments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it
But I
doesn't matter which
specialize.
one they put you on, you are able to execute.
Yeah, but I was specialized in the tenor. So after
Okay.
losing my sight, I just stay with the tenor. I didn't go on to any other pan. But I can teach it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can teach it, yeah. Because I remember once we had like 4 girls in the secondary school. They all wanted to play bass, but we had 1/6 bass.
Okay.
So I said to them, listen, it's 2 hours long. We're going to share the bass, okay? And this, I was trying to understand why this girl not getting the music. Why is she not getting it? And I said, well, D, E, F, G twice, back to D, and there's a hesitation. And I trying to work out what's happening until I say, listen, are you playing with 1 stick? She said, no, that's why you have 2 hands. Play with both hands. She said, well, the other girl have the next stick. So I tell them, share the pad.
They
3
share
of
the
them are playing the 6 bass.
So wait, a 6 bass consists of what? 19 notes? How much notes? 18 notes? A 6 bass.
12.
It's
Well,
12.
12, some of 14. It depends on the styling of bass.
Oh, it depends on the
Yeah,
style.
it depends on
So
the
there is no
styling.
consistency in the styling. Different pan makers make
They're different style,
they
yeah,
are different
yeah.
styling.
This is why, I always say, by now, these things should be standardized.
Standardized, yeah.
should
That
be
has been an
standardized.
age-old argument of standardization.
I think they reach a good way with the frontline pans, but they have a good way to go still. Hopefully, before I pass away, I'll be able to celebrate that.
Yeah.
So,
They were sharing sticks.
yeah. And I couldn't understand how I worked that out right there and then. Because my sighted guide, he don't know anything about pan. So once I reach in the pan room, he just sit down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I worked that out. I say, okay. Then I remember again too, the teachers, they got involved. So I had the teachers band as well.
Okay. In the secondary school?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So they will just learn a couple songs to play for end of term concert or whatever. And on the double guitar, I call in chords, and this guy playing, and it's like both of them behind the double guitar. I said, no, it's one person. I said, it's one person,
Yeah, yeah. We say share, but we're talking about in time. So one
In
use
time,
half
yeah,
an hour,
that's
one have
right.
half an
Yeah,
hour.
exactly, exactly. So, that was,
So that the secondary school, obviously, that was your first introduction. That was before the primary school?
Yeah, that was my first introduction.
Okay.
That was first introduction. And the secondary school was the only school. I don't think any other school